It is Festival's Eve, and all six of you are working your way to Pivlichino's. Some of you are looking for an evening's entertainment. Some of you are the evening's entertainment. But all of you will look back on this festival's eve as the night your decisions changed your lives forever. Prav. The white marble spires of the Azorius Guildhall tower above Precinct 2, gleaming red with the day's final light. There's grace in their strength. These bastions of order have never fallen, not in 10,000 years. The castle is home to both the Ravnican Senate and the Ravnican High Court. The entirety of law and justice in Ravnica stretches from this very building. Or it would if the Azorius ever got anything done. Ravnica, your carriage pulls up to Prav's main gate. The
She feel
Enizescu... Go ahead.
she feels the carriage slow to a stop, and she sighs and tucks the notebook where she'd been busy writing away into a pocket in her jacket. And she waits, fidgeting with her hair.
The Enizescu coat of arms is prominently featured on the carriage's side, painted a thick gold against the coal-black wood. The interior of the cabin is luxuriantly spacious, upholstered in rare albino Indrik leather. At its fore is a team of steel horses, their steamworks whistling noisily as they draw to a stop. Blue sparks flicker where the automaton's hooves strike the pavement.
Ooh.
4 stoic guards, resplendent in gold-banded steel armor, lower their spears to block the entrance to Prav. They move with the same stiff formality as the steel horses pulling the carriage, their cloaks barely shifting. "Halt!" calls the sentinel nearest the carriage. Unlike her fellows, she's armed with a more dangerous weapon, a clipboard. Her powerful voice rattles the panes of the carriage. "State your business here."
So instead of answering, Annika taps her finger on the little panel that sits between her and the coachman out front.
The coachman slides the panel open. He leans back and looks in. He says, "Mistress?"
Tell them I'm to deliver a message to Law Mage Tomik Vrona.
The coachman nods. He turns to the sentinel and says, "I'm to deliver a message to Lawmage Tomik Vrona." The sentinel nods her head. "Messages may be delivered during normal operating hours, except on Raz's Day, Matt's Day, and every fourth Svog's Day between 11 and 3. State the nature of your message." The coachman turns and peers through the little carriage door opening. "Mistress?"
Annika sighs and just shakes her head and yanks open the door. She clears her throat and then looks like her assertiveness just drains away and she doesn't know what to say.
The guards, they scarcely react to you as you open the door and look at them. The leader, though, turns to you, drawing a line on her clipboard. "Halt! State your business here."
Uh, she tries to straighten her spine and says, "I'm here to deliver a message to Tomek Verona."
Messages may be delivered during normal operating hours, except on Raz's Day, Mott's Day, and every fourth Svog's Day between 11 and 3. State the nature of your message.
Uh, she looks confused. A note for scheduling
State your name.
Annika Iandescu and Izescu. She straightens up again,
The,
obviously trying very hard.
the sentinel taps her quill against the parchment on the clipboard. Spelling.
Okay. Anikandescu and Izescu. You know how to spell that part, of course.
Are you an officially designated representative of any guild, faction, trade organization, educational collective, charity, entertainment initiative, or gang?
Uh, or so? Yeah?
Please present your courier's license and travel hazard insurance card.
Uh, is that new?
She sits there holding out her hand.
I don't know what those are.
Well, you don't
I
have
don't
them.
have. That's what she's. No, I don't have them. I don't know what they are.
The sentinel sighs slightly. Impersonating an officially designated representative of a guild, faction, trade organization, educational collective, charity, entertainment initiative, or gang is in violation of Code 1132, Section 7, Prohibition of Unauthorized Conveyance of Missives. You are hereby enjoined to submit your updated license to the Registrar of Licenses within the next 20 days or be subject to fines and/or detainment. Do you wish to proceed with this message delivery under the Missives of Unascertainable Origin statute?
Sure.
The sentinel flips over the paper she had been filling out, revealing a fresh sheet. State your name.
Uh, Annika Iandescu Evanescu.
After she makes you spell the whole name again, she asks you the following question. Are you carrying any of the following prohibited items? Misium, bladed weapons over 6 inches, hemsbane, dogsbane, goblin powder, projectile weapons of any kind, any unlicensed items of Izzet manufacture, steam boiler, undead summoning equipment, unlicensed undead of any kind, alcohol, unholy water, ice 9, or any enchanted items above grade 4?
So Annika looks at her horses that are drawing the carriage, and she looks at the coachman, who is well, maybe not precisely undead, but he's certainly very dried out looking. She kind of squints her eyes and says, "No."
The sentinel nods, withdraws a locket from the pouch at her waist. Please wait. She presses the locket against the clipboard and chants softly beneath her breath. A glow of blue energy fills the locket, then quickly fades. She steps forward and places the locket around your neck. Under my authority as Provgate Warden, pursuant to Code 358, Section 24, Addendum 3, I hereby grant you Level 2 access to Prov until such time as your missive of unascertainable origin has been delivered. Please limit your path to public lobbies and corridors. End of interaction.
Great. Okay. Bye bye.
In unison, she and the remaining guards step aside. The carriage trundles through the gate in the outer wall and into the Prov Bailey. It stops at the back of a long line of carriages near the steps that lead into the Ravnican High Court building.
So she's going to slip out of the carriage and as quickly as possible pulling out the message from her pouch, hanging on to it very tightly, head right for the main door.
You go
The
in through the.
coachman just sits there.
Mhm.
He's kind of immobile anyway.
You go in through the main door. The sprawling lobby of the High Court building is laid out in a circular pattern, surrounding a large marble statue of a sphinx. This is Azor, Paran of the Azorius Guild, and creator of the Guild Pact. Everything in this building happens under his watchful gaze, or at least the gaze of his statue. Azor himself has not been seen for centuries. His disappearance is still a source of much conjecture around Ravnica. The prevailing theory is that he knew he was reaching the end of his lifespan and chose to seclude himself somewhere in anticipation of his passing. Near the entrance to the lobby is a round kiosk with a sign reading information hanging above it.
Promising? She heads over to it, her very soft shoes making no noise on the floor,
You
the
quickly reach.
otherwise
Go ahead.
echoey floor.
You quickly reach the kiosk, and there an elderly Vidalcan woman barely looks up as you approach, but she does seem to have noticed you. In a raspy voice, she asks, "Name?"
Annika Iandescu Evanescu. She's,
"Spelling?"
uh-oh. Can I just ask you for directions?
Uh, uh, she scribbles something on the paper in front of her. "Purpose of visit?"
I need to get a message to Tomic Verona. Do you know where he is or where his office is? He has an office here.
The
Law Mage?
the woman looks down at the form in front of her. She's squinting and speaking very slowly.
Uh,
Are you an officially designated representative of any guild,
no,
faction,
no,
trade
no, I
organization?
am not.
As
I am
you
not.
as you feel your soul leaving your body, you happen to notice a young man carrying an armful of scrolls and hustling for the exit. He has dark, spiky hair and soft facial features, and you recognize him from his previous visits to consult with Fabio. This is Tomic Verona.
Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. And I bolt for this guy.
You manage to catch up to him as he begins to exit the building, and the Vidalcan attendant is still feebly calling after you, asking you questions. Tomic slows down as you approach, but he doesn't stop moving. He says, hello. You're Annika, right? Fabio's chambermaid?
No, no, I'm
Oh,
Annika. I am
oh,
not.
I didn't I'm sorry. I thought you were Annika.
I'm on it. I have a message for you
Oh,
from Fabio.
oh, so you are Annika.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm his
okay.
niece.
Ah, oh, well, what can I do for you, Annika?
I have a message for you. She's like waving the paper in front of his face. It's making little like rattly noises because it's expensive paper and it's going like crunch, crunch, crunch.
So
And there's a
he,
wax seal on it and it's like getting a little bit cracked because she's perhaps a little bit too enthusiastic.
as you guys cross the threshold of the building going back outside, he takes the message from you and quickly cracks it open and scans it. And he looks at you. He says, "Tonight." He comes to a stop near a gargoyle that's posed on one of the stone plinths in front of the building. I'm afraid I can't tonight. I already have plans with. I already have plans.
Oh, Fabio really wants you to come. It's to Pivlichino's. He's got a really good table. He
Um.
really wants you to come. Annika starts to
Uh.
wring her hands. He says he had something important.
So. He takes the scrolls in his hands and he stuffs them like into a leather satchel. He's clearly in a hurry. The satchel is hanging around the gargoyle's neck. He looks at you again and he sounds kind of curious. He says, "Did you say Pivlichino's?" He
Yeah, yeah.
he
Are
go ahead.
any of the scrolls loose or hanging out of the bag?
Oh yeah, they're kind of sprawling everywhere.
Okay. Um, as an opportunity presents itself, how big are they?
Like you see the image, they're like longer than his arm.
Oh, that's too big. Never mind.
So he has a slight blush on his cheeks, and he says, "Would it be okay? Do you think I could bring a guest?"
Oh yeah, sure, sure. You want to bring two?
No, no, one. In that case, maybe. I'll be there if I can, but I really have to get going.
He
Tell.
wants you. He wants you at the house at sunset
Oh, I wouldn't be
manor.
able to do that. I could meet you there though. Tell Fabio we'll
Uh,
meet him there. Tell
he's
maybe.
not. Um, she starts to follow him and like stay in front of him. It's a special show tonight. There's extra bedding. Um, there's
He kind of like dodges around you and hops up onto the back of the gargoyle. And then he speaks a
nice.
command, and the gargoyle springs to life, its wings rapidly unfurling. They knock you backwards. Make an acrobatics check, please.
Come on. Sorry, I'm having to close all the pictures.
Yeah,
It's a lot of pictures.
yeah.
Public roll. Public roll. Self roll? It's not doing
I
anything.
think you go to your character sheet and you can click your acrobatics. Like you just click on the
Oh,
word acrobatics, and I think it'll perform the action.
oh.
So the name of the gargoyle is Goliath, right?
No, the gargoyle is actually named Petra.
Okay, that is acceptable.
Did it do anything?
Yes. You got a score of 15. You can see it if you're in that first, the chat messages window. It appears there.
Aha, I couldn't see it because I moved it to get my character sheet. Okay.
So you manage to keep your feet as you stumble backwards, but the gargoyle still kind of knocks you aside a bit. And, "Sorry," Tomek calls out as the gargoyle launches itself into the air, flapping determinedly towards Precinct 5.
She stomps her foot and yells back, "No, you're not."
He is. He's sorry. He didn't mean to knock you over, or almost knock
She
you over.
doesn't. She doesn't. If she believes him, which she may, she
That's
does
okay.
not
She
say.
doesn't have to believe him. Well, he's gone now.
Well, she crosses her arms and what's the word? Grumps back to her carriage.
So your carriage begins its return to the Enizescu estate without Tomik. Its path is illuminated by Ravnica's magical streetlights now that the sun has fully set. Meanwhile, in Precinct 6, another carriage stands waiting for its final passenger. Real quick question: can anyone hear the audio? Like this, the background sound?
No.
I think it stopped.
It stopped. Let me try playing again. Oh,
Yes.
I think I need to put repeat
I
on.
can hear
One
it now.
second. There we go. That should fix it. Moment. The jury review. The endless carnival. Citizens travel from all over Ravnica to watch the deadly display, despite knowing how dangerous it is for performers and spectators alike. No matter how many corpses are taken from the stage straight to the cemeteries in Midori Park, the show must go on. Rare. You've hustled here from the Tin Street Market after Blim delivered Jury's invitation to you at the last possible moment.
She straightens herself out and takes a gander around and tries to spot where Jury is so she can get the information that she was given.
Before you can even get inside, you notice a familiar vehicle waiting on the cobblestones outside. The purple carriage is led by two black horses, champing and restless. Its decorated wooden cabin, inlaid with gold filigree, sits atop a jet black iron frame. There doesn't appear to be a driver in the coachman's seat. Atop the carriage are Jury's two pet ravens, and also Blim, who somehow got here ahead of you. His laughter is painful to your ears. A voice from inside the carriage calls out, "Get in, dear, get in! We are going to be fashionably late." The door swings open untouched.
Tries to look up at the crows and rolls her eyes as she elegantly steps into the carriage, sitting herself as slow as possible to make herself look as presentable as possible.
As you approach the carriage, Blim snickers and puts his claws to his lips, blowing a kiss in your direction. A pair of fiery lips appear and head straight for your face. Make a reflex saving throw.
How would I... Wait, am I rolling for...
If you open up your
It'd probably
character
be-
sheet...
Probably be dexterity.
Okay. Sorry, what?
Oh, sorry. I think I used the wrong term. Yes, a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
If you click on the name itself, it should do the roll for you.
Yeah, I know, Chris. Old system. Old system.
Dexterity saving throw. Do I just click on dexterity?
Yep. Just right on the name.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, there we go. Okay. Normal roll?
Yes, you don't have advantage or anything like that. An outstanding roll. You nimbly hop out of the way of the flaming kiss, and it strikes the cobblestones behind you with a sizzling sound. A voice calls out from inside the carriage, full of amusement rather than annoyance. "Blim! Get back to the review and man the door."
Rare throws an unpleasant smile at Blim and kind of gives him a little you tried type gesture and looks away from him.
You climb inside the carriage and sit down across from Jury. The carriage
Well-
lurches into motion.
She looks up through her eyes and gives him kind of a seductive look towards him, and she says, "So I've heard that you've been looking for me."
I have. I'm so pleased you could join me tonight, Rare. I was beginning to worry that I would have to take Blim with me instead. He is very clever, but not nearly so charming as you.
Blim is something else. He could go somewhere far, far away, if I would say.
Oh, his job is here tonight. He'll be working the review in my absence. Tonight, I'd like to take you to meet my friend Pivlich. He runs one of the finest restaurants in the city, and he's very well connected among the Orsov. He can help you meet other tavern owners, get you booked for performances. In this business, there's nothing better than consistent work.
She tries not to look too excited, but she gives a little smirk and says, "That's exciting. And I really look forward to meeting him and maybe having a cute little conversation with him."
Well, we are going to be his guests tonight. He's got a big event going on. And before I forget, this is for you. Jury hands you a small, light box. It's a couple feet long on each side, wrapped in a delicate paper with a bow on top.
For me,
For you.
he grabs it, looks at it, examines it, tries to see if there's any trickery behind it as she unveils the bow and opens it slowly.
Nothing seems to be amiss with the box, but inside you find an elegant black and red strapless satin dress cut at mid-thigh with an opening in the back to accommodate your tail. Its sequins shimmer in your hands as you inspect it. There's no obvious markings of the Rakdos Guild, but you do know that red and black are the colors most typically representing them.
Oh, is this something that you wanted me to wear tonight?
Of course, I had my costumers make it specially for you. I thought you might not have had time to prepare for a surprise night out. I'd be honored if you'd wear it.
I mean, it's a generous gift, but I'd gladly wear it. Maybe hopefully catch some eyes.
Jury laughs a little bit. He says, "No need to be modest on my account," and he makes a show of looking away from you and staring out the carriage window.
He gives it a little smirk and knows what he's requesting. So she starts slowly taking off the wear that she's wearing currently and slips on the new attire and tries to see if it looks real nice on her.
As you get fitted into the dress, it supports your body quite well. You look at yourself in the mirror that's on the inside of the carriage, and you look damn good in the dress.
Oh, well, I guess you got your costumers to get my exact size, which I appreciate. Accentuates everything that I desire as well. I appreciate this, and I will never forget about this dress that you got me.
Oh, it's but a start. I know that you, Rare, are destined for big things, and I'm happy to be a part of that. Did you have any questions for me? We're almost at the tavern.
So, with Pivlik, what should I expect? How should I act?
Well, just be your wonderful self. He is, perhaps not quite as jovial as me, and I expect he'll be a little bit stressed out tonight. But he's easy to charm.
And what would we be watching tonight, by any chance?
Ah, tonight on Festival's Eve, Pivlik has somehow managed to convince Dane Summer to get back into the ring and do one more prize fight. He's taking on some no-name that I've never heard of, but I am certain that it's going to be an exciting affair. Dane knows how to put on a really good show.
Oh, well, hopefully Pivlik would be able to introduce me to Dane as well and see where that can go, which would be very interesting.
Perhaps. You have heard the name Dame Summer, by the way, and you know that in addition to being a prize fighter, a, semi-retired prize fighter, he now acts in one of the foremost acting troupes in Ravnica. So his fame and popularity have only continued to grow since he gave up combats. There would be worse people for you to attach yourself to.
He gives a nice little gleam at Jury and has in the back of her mind some plans of herself to maybe get herself further in her aspect of her performing and performances, and kind of says to Jury, I'm glad that you took me here, and hopefully there'll be nice things that come out of this tonight.
Wonderful, wonderful. Tonight, I'm sure I'll show you the time of your life. The carriage picks its way down the streets of Precinct 6, on its way to the tavern at the center of tonight's evening.
He ganders outside of the cabin.
You're not quite there yet. I'm transitioning
Oh,
to
sorry.
somebody else. It's okay. It's
My
okay.
bad.
No, all good. All good. There's no good way to clear all of these at once, are there?
You kind of need to put us in there, I think.
No, not yet. Patience.
'Cause I-
Oh, wait. You guys have no
'cause-
vision. That's right.
Right, because we can't. It's only black screen.
Joe, is there an easy way to configure the screen to be... Oh, I think it's under lighting, maybe?
Remove fog of
Oh,
war.
I'm blind.
Fog of War. Fog
Should be
of
on
War.
the map level for
Grid.
token visibility, I think.
Not sure how to
Sledge
get to
is
that.
blackout
I'm at
drunk.
scene. I'm in configure scene.
Yeah, let me hop in. Because I can't remember offhand what it is.
Oh, wait.
without-
Oh. There we go.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
I'm not adding any circles to this map, Neil.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think the primary reason is because you didn't have any of our
Yeah,
tokens
no
on the board.
tokens. I didn't realize that I needed to do that. Is there any way to hide this player's menu? I don't think so.
Probably. Like, if it's the sidebar, there is the collapse or expand in the top right.
I think we're good. I think, Okay, that should be good for viewing. Alright. Pivlichino's. The popular restaurant sits in Precinct 6 on the precipice of Dead Bridge Chasm. Its unique location has allowed its proprietor, the imp Pivlich, to cultivate a distinctive fusion of dining and entertainment. Here, the citizens from the surface can dine while watching brave warriors battle monsters from the Undercity. And monsters from the Undercity can dine on brave warriors from the surface. The fighting pit of Pivlichino's is also the main stage for the Ravnica Combat Association. Founded to provide an avenue for brawlers from various guilds to settle their differences through violence, it was quickly corrupted by its Orsov administrators. Now, its bouts are largely scripted in advance, and its boisterous fans deceive themselves into believing that what they see is authentic and unpredictable. This festival's eve, Pivlichino's is host to the triumphant return of Dane Summer. Since the headliner retired from combat to tour with the Mirthmakers, the fans of the RCA have been anxiously wondering whether they'd ever get to see him fight again. His surprise return has led to a frenzy of ticket purchasing. Tickets which you, Sloan Shaw, do not have.
Sorry, can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
Is it handy knowledge to pretty much everyone that Dane joined the Mirthmakers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he's the equivalent of a crossover celebrity fighter actor like Dwayne Johnson or Dave Bautista. He's, very popular and well known.
Right. Because I know something about the Mirthmakers. I recall.
Yeah, you do, but no one else does.
Right.
Okay. Juggling a lot of stuff on the screen. Sloan, you've been contemplating the exterior of this building for several minutes now, observing from the shadows of a nearby alley. It has one central entrance on the ground floor, and as patrons approach, they show their tickets to the doorman, Balzano. He seems attentive and focused. You've already seen him turn away some people without tickets. One of them tried to rush past him and got thrown halfway across the street. There's another smaller entrance on the other side of the building for service staff. It's shut and doesn't appear to have anyone guarding it. There aren't any entrances on the upper floors, but there are many windows, including a large picture window overlooking the chasm itself. You know there's an entrance to this place from the Undercity, but you're not confident that you could find it once you entered the chasm. You've been spending a lot of time here watching for Agris Kos's arrival, but the lieutenant hasn't shown up yet. He could very well be inside already. Belborka hasn't shown up yet either. He was still on his patrol at the Transguild Promenade when you left him. What would you like to do? Sloan?
That's Dutch, right?
That is.
Dutch.
No, I can't hear a word you're saying. Check your audio.
Maybe try leaving the chat and coming back to the chat. I don't know.
And she already
just
left
said
it. She dipped out of the chat. We'll see if she comes back.
Yeah.
She was connected earlier. I'll just take a
Yeah,
moment.
because it looked like she wasn't on mute.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah, she was unmuting and muting. She was
Hmm.
trying to see if it was working.
Well, we'll just pause here a moment.
Also check your where your audio output is.
Okay, I did hear her, but she sounded a little bit warbly.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh.
Oh, just heard you. Just heard you.
Yeah,
It sounded low though.
and I think it was sounding like it was like chopping, like cutting out.
I do like this music though.
Thank you. I played all 3 hours of it myself. Dutch is showing is deafened at the moment. Crossing fingers. Dutch, if you're speaking, no one can hear you. Did you change Discord's audio input, or perhaps, I don't know, flip a button on your headset or something?
Sometimes if you're because that happened to me when I was on 2 devices at the same time. Sometimes if you might have to close one device to get the audio.
That was the issue I was having sometimes when if I have my Microsoft Teams app up and then Discord, it would kind of fight which one. Like,
Right.
That's how
Which
it
one it
sounded.
wants to have the audio, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty common. While we're waiting for Dutch to try to get her audio hooked up, does anyone have any questions that they need answered?
Yeah, you said last time that Rashok? No, what was the guy?
Rajko?
Other guy? Rashko. Yeah, Rajko. He gave Silk a pouch of money, but how much was in it?
I didn't specify
Okay.
because I forgot. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to come back to Sloane. She's going to need to solve her getting into the building problem, and as soon as we can get her audio hooked up, we'll transition back. So, 1 second. Sludge, you've arrived here with your manager, Rajko, and your new associate, Silk. Go ahead and drop your token on the outside there.
Where did I put my token?
You guys are outside with Balzano, the doorman.
So you're gonna have to.
Not for
drag
long,
our
though.
token.
Oh, yeah. Do I have to? I have to put them on the board in the first place. Is that what happens?
Yep.
Okay. Sloane's over here in this alley trying to figure out how to get active. There we go. Okay. So Rajko, your buddy. 1 second. Yeah, so for anyone who's forgotten, this is Rajko. He has a quick conversation with Balzano at the door, and Balzano steps aside quickly to let the three of you pass. Inside, it's fairly empty. The fight isn't supposed to start for another hour or so. No one who's in the crowd right now pays special attention to your arrival. But a blonde man wearing a formal outfit approaches you and introduces himself. Second. Monsieur Sludge, we are pleased to see that you have arrived. I am Olivier Bissonnet. If you would please follow me to the Challenger's room.
Sure. And I steal all the glasses for myself for my pregame.
He's not actually holding a tray at this time, but I like where your mind's at.
Hello?
Oh, hello, Dutch.
Hey,
Okay. Sorry about that.
Welcome back. I'll wrap up the scene with Sludge, and then we'll circle back to you.
Okay.
Glad you got it figured out. All right.
Yeah.
Sludge, Olivier, he leads you through the tavern and down into the back rooms on the lowermost level. There's an array of food sitting here on a table. It's got all sorts of stuff that you might want to eat. It looks quite generous. And on the other side of the room here, you can see a corridor that leads out to the fighting pit. So you guys are somewhere in like one of these areas. I unfortunately couldn't really find a good multi-floor map.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys will just have to pretend that there's multiple floors here. So Olivier gives you a small bow. He says, "If you need anything, Monsieur Sludge, send your manager to find me." And then he scurries right off.
Sludge immediately
They really laid out the welcome mat for you just for fetching, your first fighting. He starts picking through a bit of the food that's out there.
Then I tell Silk, once we get made with jury, we're going to get all the red carpet treatment for all my fights. I start looking around the food,
Look,
and I look to see if there's any alcohol. Is there any alcohol?
There is alcohol. There is both ale and mead here. No wine. Ale and mead.
All I like to do with mead. Mead's my pregame drink. I need at least 21 glasses of mead to get ready for fighting.
Get that for you out there so that you can pregame.
Don't worry.
Don't go too hard on it all. You want to keep your mind clear so that you'll be able to take things out at the right measure. Up until round 5, remember.
Yeah, fake the finish in the 4th. He's going to give me a backbreaker, but I survived the 4th round before I take the dive in round 5.
Rajko says, all right, enough drinking. You better get changed into your costume.
Right. So, Sludge starts preparing himself for the battle ahead. He starts thinking about how he got to this moment, how the gear that he's wearing is a constant reminder of how he survived in the wilderness after leaving his father dead from his traveling band guild. It's traditional barbarian wardrobe. He has traditional leather skirts of a barbarian, accented with the pelts that he acquired during his hunting and being stranded alone in the wilderness, along with his fur boots that are strapped up with leather. He also has his wears underneath because he remembers the one fight. How even though he won the fight, everyone mocked of him because of his yam bag being exposed. He starts getting prepared, starts taping up his wrists with white tape, soiled from previous fights of sweat, grime, dirt, and blood. He puts on his entrance attire, a hooded robe with the sleeves torn off to show off his bulging muscles, and then the coup de grace. During his time alone in the wilderness, he managed to kill a deer, and he actually uses the skull of the stag as his helmet, and he puts it on, and he starts drinking and thinking of the game plan ahead of his upcoming fight.
So as you get your costume on, Rajko, he picks up a small disc and he tosses it in your direction. He says, Here, this is your inhibitor. Put it on your belt."
Sure, what does this do?
So, you've worn one of these before. They're often used in prize fights like these. What they do is they help the fighters battle longer by reducing the damage that you take from incoming hits. So only the biggest hits actually hurt the opponent. And Rajko, he's up there, he's trying to coach you, he's giving you some tips. He says, "Remember, when Dane hits you with the backbreaker, you gotta tense your shoulders. You gotta tense your shoulders and you gotta roll off his flank. That'll keep your spine from breaking. But you gotta really sell it, you know? You gotta stay down for like half the 10 count, and then you get back up, get back on your feet. All you gotta do then is last to the end of the round. We make it to round 5, we're golden."
Gotcha, boss, but there's one thing. The alcohol masks the pain. I can't feel anything.
Well, I think then you got your work cut out for you. I think you'll be fine. This inhibitor helps reduce a bit that alcohol. Any edge that you would have been taking, that's taken right off then.
And even though I'm taking a dive, I'm not going to make this a cakewalk for Dane. I know he's a
Nobody
little
expects
pretty
that at
boy.
all.
That's right.
Oh, I'm going to make him have a black eye.
You're out there. If you win over the crowd, you get them cheering your name, sky's the limit. You get hired anywhere for more fights. Maybe even perform for jury at the review.
I'm fine with that. You be the jury, I be the executioner.
Silk, Rajko looks at you and he says, "Our bookie's out there in the crowd. I spotted him on the way in. He's on the upper level. His name's Squint. Human, swarthy, goatee, black coat with a hood on.
Got it. I'll go
Remember.
find this little guy and we'll go get some money.
Remember, bet champion to win. Fight ends in round 5. We'll meet tomorrow to settle up."
Gives him the okay, and heads up, or finishes his drink, then heads upstairs to look for Quinn.
And as Silk slips his way out into the main tavern to look for Squint, there's a carriage arriving outside. But we'll pause that for a moment and go back to Sloane. Sloane sort of dozed off a little bit in the alleyway. She forgot what she was doing, and it was a
blacked
long
out there
day.
for a second.
Just a long day. She just had
That's
enough
my
of
job.
No, really, it's my job. Let's be honest.
All right. Well, having observed this fine establishment, seems like, at least for starters, the most low-key approach is going to be trying to get in through the help door on the side, the service entrance.
All right,
So I kind of, Sloan sort of, very casually moseys over towards the service entrance.
she sort of slips around back here towards the service entrance. Now, there's no one guarding the door on the service entrance.
So I mean, so I kind of look. I take a look around, see if anybody's sort of watching what I'm doing.
There's a decent amount of foot traffic here. There's a lot of people who are arriving here for this event. So you got people on the streets. I don't know if you saw from the original image, there was like streets like all around. It's kind of isolated.
Yeah.
People are showing up all the time, and while most of them aren't paying too much attention to this side, you can't go completely unseen here.
Right.
If you would like to move stealthily, you have a skill for that.
Yes, I would like to move stealthily.
All right, let's do a check.
A stealth roll?
Mm-hmm. All right, you feel like you're doing okay with that, but you never really know, right? Like, you never know. You think you're being sneaky, but you never know how good you're doing.
I've convinced myself that I'm being really sneaky.
You've managed to figure out a way to kind of move through the shadows and get your way up to this door. And once you check it, you realize it only really opens from the inside.
Shoot. All right. Next.
I mean, you can wait here. You could wait here and wait and see if someone comes by and opens it. Or maybe, like, someone else shows up from the outside, but...
I mean, I've been watching. I've been sort of observing. Have I seen people going in and out of it throughout the day?
Every so often. I mean, you only got here, I don't know, maybe an hour ago. But you've seen a handful of staff go in and out, but it's only a couple. You feel like maybe most of the staff has already arrived. You're pretty close to showtime after all.
All right. Well, since, as you so accurately said, we are close to showtime, I guess I'm gonna try. So you said there was a picture window on the upper floor, right?
There is a picture window on the upper floor.
All right. So if I were to want to both elegantly and stealthily try to get into the picture window, what sort of rolls might I need to do for that?
Well, that kind of depends. Are you just going to scale the outside of the building like Spider-Man and hope no one notices? Because in that case, you've already got your stealth check, and the next check would be your choice of athletics or acrobatics.
I am gonna try to be a really low-key Spider-Man for this, so I'm gonna do an acrobatics roll for that.
Okay, it's whichever one you're stronger at is fine.
Yeah.
I have some bad news for you. As you get started climbing up the exterior of the building towards the picture window, you realize that you really haven't trained for this, and your hands are sweaty, your gloves aren't sticking to the side of the building, and all of a sudden your foot slips out from under you and you come clattering back down to the ground. Now, you didn't get very far up the climbing wall, so you didn't take any damage on the way back down, but your cover seems to be slightly blown. There are several people on the street who are now looking over at you, crumpled on the ground, wondering what the hell is going on.
Sorry. Too many meads. You know, it's fight night. We're all excited, right?
Most of them just shake their head and sort of go about their day.
Okay, all right. So plan 3 for getting in. Okay. Let's see. So I guess I'll kind of amble back around to the front side.
Sure.
All right. Maybe I could try to cause create a distraction.
How
so
would
that
you
I
do
could
that?
get past the bouncer. Well, there's got to be some sort of rough types that are going in to Pivlichino's tonight for the fight.
It's true. It's true.
Maybe
There
some,
are several patrons that are less than elegant, you know?
Right. Would there be any local criminals that I might have some level of knowledge of?
Interesting thought. I mean, you haven't personally recognized any of the attendees yet, but you could spend a few minutes watching here, see if anyone shows up that you know.
All right, let me think about this.
All right. Well, how about this? How about you've made a couple of attempts here, and we'll shift focus to someone else while you consider what else you could do to get in.
Okay, sounds good.
You keep an eye on things because there is a carriage that is pulling up to the exterior right now. The carriage stops, and the door swings open in the direction of the tavern. Jury steps out, and the citizens on the street outside, they whisper, they stare. He sort of folds his arm. He gives a low bow in the direction of everybody around. The blades on his sleeve are chiming as they clink together. There's some scattered cheering, and then he turns back to the carriage and he extends his hand to you, Rare.
Rare, before she steps out of the carriage, she sees Jury looking at her. She turns around back to the mirror, checks herself, makes sure she looks as presentable as possible.
You
Takes
check yourself
one
out in
step
the mirror. You check yourself out in the mirror. Still look damn good.
Yes. Always. She takes one step out, takes a deep breath, gives a good big smile before she steps completely outside, and extends her hand out towards Jury.
You notice that a lot of the attention that had been going towards Jury has now turned to you. The eyes of the crowd are on you.
She gives a big smile and hopefully gives a good, gives a good image to everyone and a first impressions in a sense, and gives a good big smile towards everyone and maybe winks at a few bigger men or even females, just kind of giving them more of a lust factor to her.
So she sort of shows off a little bit, presenting herself in her dress, and she walks up right besides Jury. The two of you approach the entrance, and Balzano nods to you, stepping aside immediately. Doesn't even ask for tickets. The carriage starts pulling away into the distance, and as soon as you enter, a formally dressed man with an elaborate beard greets you. Monsieur Jury, Mademoiselle Rare, allow me to welcome you to Pivlichino's, the finest dining establishment in the 10th District. Monsieur Pivlich is eagerly awaiting the pleasure of your company at the owner's table. If you would please follow me. He turns and he begins walking to the other side of the room. You guys are going to wind up at this table over here. The owner's table is wide enough to hold 12 people, and situated at the center of the ring of tables nearest the fighting pit on the lower level. Plates of delicacies are scattered across its surface. Apples, grapes, potato wedges, meat skewers. Your stomach rumbles at the sight, while the attendant heads back towards the restaurant's entrance. Seated in an ornate wooden chair, you see an imp dressed in colorful, attention-grabbing clothing. He smiles and stands as you and Jury approach. "Jury! So glad you could be here tonight! I trust the review is in good hands in your absence." Jury laughs. "Oh, not at all. I left Blim to run things tonight. It could all be in cinders by the time I return." Pivlich laughs as well. "And how would that be different from your usual show?" Rare, he turns his attention to you expectantly. Jury smiles, and he turns your way as well. "Pivlich, it is my great pleasure to introduce you to the finest young singer in the district, Rare Lamoth. Rare, the scoundrel you see before you, is none other than Pivlich, owner and operator of this most delectable restaurant."
He doesn't completely bow, but gives a little low head nod towards him and says, "What a pleasure. It's a pleasure to meet you," and extends her hand once again and in hopes for him to grab.
So he reaches out and he takes your hand, clasping both of his hands around it. He says, "A pleasure to meet you, Rare. You look lovely tonight, and I'm told you have a voice to match. Come, please sit with us. Help yourself to the food."
Rare gently sits down in one of the chairs, very close to Jury, but also very close to Pivlik, kind of brushing her shoulders on either one of them, kind of giving that little bit of attention towards them, and gives a slight little smile towards them.
As you join Pivlik at the table, a bespectacled man of middle age stands up and gives a respectful bow in your direction. His hands are holding a small leather-bound notebook and a quill. "Master Jury, it's been too long." Jury returns the bow with one of his own. "Seer Copperplate! I didn't expect you here. Have these fights become so reputable that the Ravnica Herald is reporting on them? What a sad day." The seer laughs and nods, scratching letters into his notebook, even as he talks. "The Herald covers what citizens care about, and today, that's Dane Summer. And Master Pivlik has assured me that tonight's match will be entirely legal and above board." Rare, do you have anything you'd like to say?
She turns towards Seer and introduces herself and says, "Hello, I'm Rare Lamoth. I don't know if you know about me, but I would like to know more about you, sir. Sire. What's his name? Sorry."
Seer.
Seer?
It's pronounced Seer, and it's spelled C-I-R.
Sire. Okay.
So, you kind of know Seer Copperplate by name, though you've never met him. He's the editor-in-chief of the Ravnica Herald, which is one of the main newspapers for Ravnica, especially in this area of the city. And he sometimes reports personally on major events. So he's got no small degree of notoriety. He looks your way, and he gives a little nod, sort of like half bowing over your hand. He just acknowledges you, and he says, "Oh, it's so good to meet you as well. You're here for the fight, I take it." You can see that he doesn't really have any spark of recognition for who you are.
I try to give great eye contact with him and keep his eye contact with me and say, "Well, hopefully you can be more familiar with me, and hopefully I'll see you around more often."
Of course, of course.
Are you here reviewing the fight as well?
Oh, I am. That's what I came here for. Pivlik was kind enough to invite me to sit with him at his table, but I'd be here either way. Someone like Dane Summer going back to the ring makes a wonderful local interest story.
Ooh, how much I agree on that. Well, hopefully you'd be able to review one of my performances and maybe
Oh, are
see
you a
what
performer as
about.
well?
I am.
Oh, and how do you perform? Don't tell me you're a fighter too.
As funny as that sounds, someone as elegant as me would not be a fighter, but I am a performer of singing and maybe poetry, sometimes instrumental, but mostly my vocals. They are the ones that are being most talked about.
Singing and poetry, that sounds wonderful. Our entertainment section of our paper is always one of the most popular and well-read, and I don't think it's for the cartoons.
It kind of gives a little giggle, still keeping eye contact with him and trying to give him a sense of interest towards him. She giggles and giggles until she goes, I must maybe see one of these articles, and hopefully I can see myself in one of these articles, and kind of winks at him in a very playful way.
He like pats his robes exaggeratedly. Ma'am, you've caught me completely unprepared. I don't have a copy of my own newspaper on me. Didn't think to bring one, but, you know, perhaps if you're performing during the festival somewhere, maybe I'll come by and examine one of your performances. I'm sure a small article about you and maybe even a picture.
Oh, 1000%, I would love that, and hopefully that'd be something that would be an ongoing thing in your articles.
So the whole time he's been talking with you, he has been scratching in the notebook in front of him. You like, he doesn't seem to be paying any attention to it. He's just doing it out of reflex. The head table continues to talk, but meanwhile, more patrons are arriving. Helio, you and your buddy Javor have journeyed from the Nivix courtyard all the way to Pivlichino's. You're stopped at the main entrance by a well-dressed but dour-looking Rox. Tickets, please.
Javor, you got the tickets, right? Javor.
Yeah. I got tickets. I got tickets here somewhere. Wait, hang on. He's patting his pockets and he's trying to find them.
Helio's also patting his pockets and trying to see if he has the tickets.
Just to make sure. Well, Javor never handed them to you, so he's got them somewhere. And eventually, he finds them kind of like tucked away in his waistband in the back. And he's got an excited grin on his face as he hands the tickets to Balzano, and Balzano just sort of steps aside.
Do I know Balzano at all?
No, you don't. But you do recognize that he is a Rox, a rhino-like humanoid. They are not particularly common in Ravnica either.
Okay. Helio's gonna walk past him, just give him the head bob in recognition of being, you know, more unique, and he'll go and follow Javor, find wherever Javor's whatever trouble he's getting into.
Yeah, I'm going to pause a moment just to check in with Sloane and see whether or not she's decided to do anything in this moment, or whether she's still considering what to do next.
Okay, so after feeling incredibly demoralized after my multiple failed attempts to enter this godforsaken tavern, I have just the light bulb moment. I'm a freaking druid.
I wasn't gonna say it.
It's possible I got a little birdie, so to speak, gave me a tip. But so I decide that so I'm not 100% clear on how this all works, but basically
Sure,
I can
sure.
so I can turn into any animal, or is it like
It's not
somewhat
any
limited?
animal. There are limits to what you can turn into. The main limit is by challenge rating. So I believe you're a Circle of the Moon druid, which means you can turn into challenge rating of up to like CR1. This is like most normal animals, but what you can't
Okay,
do
yeah.
is produce anything with a fly or swim speed.
Okay, so I can't be like a bird or a bug.
I don't believe you are powerful enough to turn into a flying animal yet. You will eventually
Okay.
get there in your growth through the levels.
Well then maybe I'll go with like a little like lizard that could climb up a wall. Like a gecko.
Okay, that's fine. So you another rule is that you can only turn into animals you're familiar with, but most common animals like this you could definitely
Okay,
turn
I
into.
mean-
So if you want to use like a little wall scaling lizard, I believe that's fine.
Yeah, something, or lizard type creature.
All right, so you managed to duck around the corner again. You notice that the rocks has been like giving you the eye, right? You're just sort of like loitering out in this area. You leave, you come back, you leave, you come back. He's good at his job. He recognizes you, but you sort of duck away again, and that's the last he sees of Sloane Shaw, humanoid.
Right, now it's time for Sloane Shaw, lizard detective.
Okay.
Lizard bounty hunter.
Lizard bounty hunter. All right, so you take an action to wild shape, and now you're a lizard. You manage to like kind of seclude yourself in an alley so that no one notices your transition. And
Right, is it sort of taboo? I mean, druids are around in this world, but I assume it's like sort of, is it like, it's like not cool to just like change into animals in front of people?
It would be
or
fine.
just like kind of sus?
It would be fine, but it's more that you're about to use this to break into a place you're not supposed to be in. So I'm kind of assuming that you don't want to be noticed turning into a lizard,
You're
because
right.
then the security guy might think a little bit about that.
Right. I just want to kind of understand what the.
In Ravnica, magic is very common, and druidic magic, while druidic magic is less common than arcane magic or even clerical magic, you can practically see Vitu-Ghazi in the distance from here. People have seen druids before, but you managed to not be noticed by security turning into the lizard. So what's your next plan?
Now my plan is to climb up the wall into that window that I was trying to climb into before as a human, but now as a lizard.
Okay, so lizards have their own stat block. They have a climb speed of 20 feet, and I don't know if they need to make a check to do it. I think with the climb speed, you don't actually need to make like an acrobatics check or anything. You're just using your movement. So you manage to climb your way up the side of the building. You kind of get yourself onto a ledge on a window there on the upper floor, and you peek your way inside. There's not that many patrons here yet. They've been flowing in somewhat steadily, but it's not packed. So the window, though, it's shut, is the thing.
Right, that's going to be hard to open as a lizard.
It's going to be a little tough to open as a lizard, it's true.
It's been too long a day. Never thinking through any of these plans past like step one. All right, so
fun fact: wild shape can be canceled.
Right. So there's nobody really. So I could like turn back into a human and open this window and like slide through.
At the moment, make a perception check for me as you look around to see if you notice anyone paying attention to the lizard that has shown up out there. All right, you're fairly confident that the coast is clear, that no one is watching out this particular window at this particular time.
All right, then I'm going to hang up the lizard bounty hunter hat here and turn back into Sloane Shaw human bounty hunter.
Right, so you're up here on like a window ledge outside here. You picked one of the widest ones, and boom, you've turned back into Sloane, and you're sort of like wobbling, balancing on this ledge. I assume you kind of quickly pull open that window.
Yeah, quickly open the window and slip inside.
Yeah, believe it or not, someone just turning into a person outside a window and then opening it does draw a few stares. And as you slide your way in through the window, the patrons around you just start clapping, like cheering, like, woo!
Thank you.
You take a little bow, shut the window behind you, boom, you're in. Alright, we'll come back to you in a moment. Alright, Javor and Helio, your trip inside was slightly less eventful. Javor leads his way in, and he finds you a great table up here. He says, right here, bro. Great view of the pit. So you have to go up to the upper level to find this table, because that's what your tickets give you access to. And on the way, you kind of squeeze past this short, ruddy-looking man in a black coat.
Right here.
Yeah, this one right over here.
Oh, not the one with the hat.
Oh, yeah, no. The one with the hat hasn't quite gotten up here yet. Everything's sort of happening at once.
All right, so I walk by him.
Yeah, he takes no notice of you. You do notice that he's got like a notebook out on the table, like a ledger book and a quill, and he seems to be just kind of like half dozing off, but he's got his back to the wall and he's just keeping his eyes on the whole place.
Gotcha.
Javor kind of shakes you and he says, "This is going to be the wildest month of our lives, dude. Parties every day."
Dude, I'm so excited.
Hell
so
yeah.
excited for this.
Hell yeah!
Ah,
Once in a lifetime.
yeah. Would it be out of place for me to pack a bowl and smoke in here?
Not at all.
All right. So I'm gonna pat my cloak a bit, find my pipe, pack it, take a hit, pass it to Javor. Here.
You're on it. You guys are getting comfortable, getting ready for the fight, and as you're doing this, before too long, a young Pivlichino waitress appears at your table. She says, "Hi, welcome to Pivlichino's. What can I get you two tonight? Our specials tonight are pulled Indrix sandwich with pepper dressing, roasted solifuge drizzled in caramel, and for our adventurous diners, we have fresh Drekavac skewers on a bed of wild greens. Also, start your meal off right with the blood soup."
Elio's been holding in the smoke, and he lets it go. Says, I think the skewers sound nice. Yeah.
She sort of like squints a little bit, like she's trying to understand you as you cough there.
Just the skewers, please.
The skewers. Okay. Javor's next to you. He looks excited. He says, "How fresh is the solifuge? Are the legs still attached?" And the waitress nods, and he sort of like claps his hands together. He says, "Let's go with the solifuge then, and 2 Mercadian ales."
Make it 3.
Well, he was ordering 1 for you, but now it's 3. 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's why I wanted
You're gonna
3.
keep it coming. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. And the waitress, she gives you like a bubbly smile, and she says, "I'll be right back with that for you."
Elio stares at her. She walks away.
Yeah?
That's fine. Who's fighting tonight, Javor? What do we know about these people?
Oh, you know Dane Summer. Everyone knows Dane Summer.
Dane Summers back?
Dane Summer, yeah, hell yeah, that's why we're here, brother.
Wasn't he with those The Mirth Makers.
The Mirth Makers, yeah. He went on tour. He gave up fighting to go, like, act on a stage. Who does that?
Javor, did I tell you about what I heard earlier?
What you heard earlier? What are you talking about?
Yeah. While you were fixing that big old dragon, those Mirth Makers, I heard something about that they got lost somewhere.
Got lost? What are you talking about?
I don't know. They got lost somewhere on the way. That's what I heard. I don't know.
I don't know what that's all about, but like, as long as Dane's here tonight, I am sure everything's gonna be fine.
Oh, I'm sure. I guess they found their way here. Okay.
I guess. So, someone speaks up to you from nearby tables. She says, oh, "Do you know the Mirth Makers?"
I know of the Mirth Makers.
She gives you a warm smile. She gives you a warm smile. Oh yeah, the Mirth Makers. They're great. They're wonderful. Oh, greetings, brother. Greetings, brother. Happy Festival's Eve.
Happy Festival's Eve. You looking for anything fun?
Oh yeah, I mean, that's what I'm here for. My name's Shiren. So glad to meet you. Are you a sentry of the tree? You have the build of one.
Maybe somewhere in my family somebody was a sentry for the tree, but no, I'm just a simple farmer. Just a simple farmer.
A farmer. How important? Oh, a well-fed conclave is a strong conclave.
Here, have a sample of my wares. He hands her the pipe.
Oh, she takes the pipe. She takes the pipe and she looks at it and she gives a little puff and she just starts coughing immediately. She sort of reaches it back out to you and she's shaking her head a little.
That's good stuff, huh? That's good stuff.
Oh, that's good stuff. Oh, jeez.
If you want more, please just let me know, and I'm always selling for the right price.
Oh, I haven't had anything like that in ever.
Well, it's a good time to buy some. You never know when you'll see it again.
I didn't think I'd see someone else from the Selesnian Conclave here. These fights aren't as popular with our guild.
Hey, I'm just here to have fun, see what's going on. I heard there's gonna be quite the spectacle. Dane's Summer. Huh?
Yeah, Dane's Summer, exactly.
It's gonna be a great fight. Hey, Javor.
Yeah,
we betting on this fight?
Javor sort of nods his head, but the girl next to you, she kind of pipes up. She says, I'm in training to become a Ledev. My mom and dad, they traveled a lot when I was a kid, and I always felt safe when I passed the Selesnian patrols. So when I got to the 10th, I thought, maybe I can learn to give that safety to others.
Is the 10th district, that's where the Selesnian Conclave is?
Well, the 10th district is where you are. It is the district that represents the center of the city, and the 6 precincts that you are in are all part of the 10th. I guess it's akin to like the capital city, of the city. So
she wants to join the guard? That's what she's saying?
She's saying she's in training to become a Ledev. You're well familiar with that term as a member of the Selesnian Conclave. The Ledev are guardians of the roadways. Sort of maybe equivalent to the highway patrol, but it's not like they're giving out speeding tickets.
Gotcha.
Their job is to make sure that the passageways of Ravnica remain safe.
So I just gave weed to a cop in training and tried to sell weed to a cop in training.
Essentially, yes, but she doesn't seem to be bothered by that. Weed is not exactly like it's not like strictly criminalized here.
Gotcha. So I say to her, "Well, I'm quite happy that you were willing to risk yourself for the safety of others. It's an important task to make sure that we're all safe in our homes and on patrol and."
Yeah, I've been
Where was
having
I going?
I've been having a great time learning how to fight. My teacher, Gossamer, he's just the best. He's always taking extra time after lessons, showing me how to fix my stance, watching me do extra stretches and exercises. Pretty soon I'll be ready for my own wolf cub.
Yeah. Well, the day they get their wolf cubs is quite the experience, I've heard.
Yeah,
Very
most Ledevs, when they're on patrol, they are mounted, and their most typical mount is a great wolf, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's like a horse-sized wolf.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
She says to you, she says, I don't think I've ever heard of a Loxodon Ledev before. You're all too big and strong to ride on the poor great wolves. And she sort of reaches out and like pats your bicep.
Helio kind of flexes a little bit when she reaches for his bicep. Yeah, well, we're quite heavy, and I wouldn't want to hurt that poor wolf's back by sitting on it. Anything that wolf can do, I can do too.
She giggles again and smiles your way, and she's just sort of like laughing a little bit as you flex against her hand. She says, this whole festival is going to be so exciting. The trainees, they all have the day off tomorrow, so we can see the Clash of Champions. Maybe I'll see you there?
Oh, definitely. You can find me wherever. Well, just follow the smoke.
Follow the smoke. You see Javor looking like visibly disinterested from across the table, but he sort of like shoots you a little thumbs up, tries to pretend that you don't exist.
Helio looks at him. Yeah, okay. Javor, what are we betting on here? What are we doing?
Oh, he says, oh man, I'll find us. There's got to be a bookie around here somewhere. I'll figure it out. And as you and Javor and your new acquaintance make small talk, a coal-black carriage pulled by an elderly coachman arrives on the outside of Pivlichino's.
The room goes silent. Is this do I see it, or is
No, this is me transitioning to another player.
Perfect?
Gotta get the tokens. Don't have a token for the carriage, but there's a whole bunch of people inside of it. Annika, the cabin that you found spacious earlier in the day is now cramped and uncomfortable. Lord Fabio lounges across one padded bench, his slight figure dapper in vibrantly red and black striped tuxedo with a large, matching, oversized top hat. So he's resting his head against Megara's lap, his face almost disappearing into the cascading ruffles of her screamingly scarlet gown. Second? You okay there?
Yeah, I was laughing. I thought you were still going.
No, kind of. I was getting that. So the ruffles, they overflow her side of the carriage. They're frothing right up to your feet. Her dress, plus the stocky presence of Simon on the seat beside you, have you scrunched into the corner of the cabin.
I'm relieved that at least her dress smells nice.
It does.
But-
It smells very nice.
Yeah.
She really spent a lot of time getting ready for tonight.
If I was a nicer person, I might feel a little bit sorry for her that she doesn't have, any other friends, but I'm not. And also, she's definitely having more fun than me right now. So I just kind of seethe quietly.
As your carriage pulls to a stop, Fabio, he sits up excitedly. He's clapping his small hands in glee. He scarcely waits for the ancient coachman to open the door, bounding out into the street. Finally! Megara, she remains seated in the carriage. She's holding out one hand expectantly, but Simon pushes past both of you to get out. His boots are treading on the hem of Megara's dress.
I want to kick him in the ankle.
You
Hey!
gonna kick him? Alright.
Yeah.
Make an attack roll just to see whether your kick lands. We won't.
It's not like
We won't roll for damage.
damaging.
I just want to see if you hit or miss.
it's like a cousinly kick.
Yeah, it's not going to hurt him either way, but like you might whiff. We'll see.
Okay. How do I do that on the sheet? Hit dice.
I think you can just roll a d20. We'll go with just a regular d20.
I don't know how to roll a d20. It didn't work when I was trying to do it in the chat earlier. Public roll.
Should
Yeah.
be slash
Slash-
R1d20.
Or I think /R just space d20 should work too.
Mhm.
No, you have to /R and then space.
All right, that's a good roll. So your kick lands right like on his shin. He sort of grunts a little. He's not bothered by your kick, but he flashes you like a really annoyed look. But you notice that as he's outside of the carriage, he sort of bends down and rubs his ankle a little.
Hey, I'm gonna have to fix that dress.
So Meg, she sort of shifts herself and she just fills up the carriage exit with the massive dress that she's wearing. Fabio! And kind of distractedly, Fabio like reaches back to the carriage and takes her hand and helps her out.
I guess I follow.
So as you try to get out, Meg's blocking your way. She's fiddling with her dress, she's tugging it around, adjusting the fabric into place. She seems preoccupied with making sure her cleavage is like prominently displayed.
I just wait. This is fine.
So she's not paying any attention to you, and the carriage actually starts riding off towards the carriage house.
Stop!
It's still
Bang
going.
on the panel.
It's still
Stop.
going. The door is just sort of swinging.
Is her dress caught in it?
No, her dress manages to be like all the way out of it.
She's just gonna jump. That
Right.
be what do you want me to roll?
You can make an acrobatics roll just to see if you land on your feet or maybe trip and fall. All right, you hop out of the carriage, but you sort of stumble, and fortunately you're nimble enough not to like fall flat on your face, but you're just kind of staggering, several feet away as the carriage picks up speed, heads off to the carriage house.
This is Ravnica. Did I land in anything gross?
No, I think that the area, the streets around Pivlichino's are pretty well maintained, especially tonight when they're expecting such a large crowd.
Well, I kind of go by and stand like kind of behind into an angle of everyone else, so nobody will like tangle me in their clothing or.
The rock steps forward and says, "Tickets, please." Fabio says, "Oh, get out of the way, you stupid rocks! You know who I am." Balzano gives a little bow. "Apologies, Lord Enizescu." He steps back into the side. "These three are with me, and, Annika," Fabio turns and glares at you. "Where is Lawmage Vrona? I have much to discuss with him."
I told you he said he might try and meet you here. I told him he could bring friends.
As the two of you discuss the Law Mage, there's a rhythmic flapping of wings that draws all eyes skyward. The powerful stone beast descends rapidly, and pedestrians shriek and dodge out of the way as it slams down into the street. "Sorry!" calls out a voice from its back.
Mutter to myself, he's so not sorry.
Balzano, he rushes forward yelling, "No gargoyles! You can't park that thing here!" The rearmost of the gargoyle's two riders slips off its back. He is a tall young man, garbed in a fashionable red and blue tunic, dark leather pants, and calf-cut leather boots. His frizzled, jet-black hair shows unusual streaks of white for one so young. "Easy there, my man. We didn't want to miss the big fight. Had to get here in a hurry." He slips one arm around Balzano's shoulders, having to reach up a bit awkwardly to do so. "Surely you can give us some advice on the best place to leave her while we're here?" His other hand flashes to his belt, smoothly drawing forth a 10 Xeno note and holding it out to the rocks. Balzano snorts, but he claims the note in his thick hands, tucking it into his vest. The haberdasher goes to bed early most nights, won't notice something on his roof until morning. He gestures to one of the shops across the street. The man smiles and nods, and he goes back and helps Tomik off the gargoyle's back. After a few whispered words, the gargoyle flies off toward the indicated building. Annika?
I'm just kind of watching the scene out of the corner of my eye, keeping an eye on everybody, staying out from underfoot, watching out for any issues.
Fabio,
might
wait.
sneak in ahead to check the table if they stand out here a bit.
Fabio waves his hand. "Tomik, you made it! And this is?" Tomik brushes off his suit, an ill-fitting piece of silken formal wear. Yes, Lord Enizescu, this is my guest tonight, Guild Mage Ral Zarek of the Izzet Conclave." He pauses and stares at Ral for a moment with undisguised admiration. Meanwhile, Ral glances from Tomik to Fabio's party. His eyes are flickering back and forth between all of you. "Pleasure to meet you, whoever you are. There food at this place? I'm starving." Without waiting for names, he brushes past Fabio and past Balzano and heads inside.
I'm gonna slip ahead then and go look for the table. I know where it always is. It's always in the same spot, so.
You do, but as the group of you walks in, a short blonde man in an immaculate suit stands at the ready nearby. "Milord Fabio, Milady Megara, Humbly do I welcome you back to Pivlichino's. Your customary selection of Kessig Sauvignon is warming on the table brazier. Now, if you will excuse me, I will return in a few moments to take your orders. He leads you to the table, and he gives a stiff bow and hustles off in the direction of the head table. So, he leads the group of you in over here. Why is it so slow moving these things? All right, a question.
I think you can move them. I think you can move them all at once. By the way.
Oh, I wasn't sure. Probably can.
Yeah, you
Yes.
can highlight them all at once and just move them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Annika, you were saying?
Control click and move at the same time, or drag and highlight if they're close by.
Yes, Annika?
Can I zoom in and out somehow?
Scroll
Or is
wheel?
that I just have to see what you see? I don't have a scroll wheel. Is that
If you hit the page up or page down, will also zoom in and out.
Okay. Hmm.
Well, I have a question for everybody. It seems that we have already reached 11 o'clock, and we are about halfway through the content that I had prepared for tonight. So, is everyone interested in continuing to go, or should we stop here and try to play again next week?
Now would be an okay time for me to stop, but I can also keep going, like depending on what the vibe with everybody else is. Earlier for me than it is for most of you guys.
Yeah. Me and Dutch.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with whatever. I know if we do it next week, I know that that'll be the best time that we do it next week because I'll be on the trip 2 Wednesdays from now.
Yeah,
And
I'm the
Yeah.
same as well. So it'd be nice to have like next week be another session, and then
if everyone's okay
then
to
I would-
keep going, I'll go a little further tonight and see what we can get through. But yes, we will probably have a session next week then.
Okay. Sounds
Yay!
I mean,
Good.
we did start late, so
A little, yeah.
should we get like 30 more minutes in, or like
Yeah.
should we end here?
I'll go, if everyone's good to go, I'll go a little bit further, and then we'll call things. We won't get through everything I've prepared, but we'll get a decent way.
Makes next
Okay.
session easier on you then.
It does. It makes it much easier.
Yeah.
So while Fabio and his guests are getting comfortable, Olivier has other guests to attend to.
Is there possible for me to move around the map too?
Sure.
How?
You can grab your token, and you should be able to move it because you're the player who owns it. I don't know. Think you
Can
can
I-
grab the other tokens, but
Correct.
Can I scroll around the map? All I can see is the corner where I'm sitting.
Are you on a computer?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you right click and then you can drag and move yourself around the map.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, I didn't figure that out because I don't have a mouse. Got it.
Oh,
I
okay.
see now. Thanks.
Rare, time seems to fly by as you listen to Pivlik and Jury exchange exaggerated compliments about each other's businesses. You scarcely notice as Olivier approaches the table. Mademoiselle, tonight our head chef, the esteemed Rocco Cabaretti, has prepared for you his famous brush strider au jus. It is a venison steak seared over a rice and onion casserole and seasoned with cardamom. It is best accompanied by the Stencia Cabernet. We also offer a Nephalia Malbec and a Gavany Zinfandel. He looks at you expectantly.
That sounds so delicious, and I would love to try it, and maybe, hopefully, it would be something of my taste.
And your wine, mademoiselle?
Sorry, can you repeat the selection?
Of course. A Stensia Cabernet, a Nephalia Malbec, and a Gavany Zinfandel.
I'll try the Cabernet.
The Cabernet. Wonderful. Perfect. And you, monsieur? Jury responds. He says, the Malbec, 83, if you have it. Olivier nods again. Very good, very good. A moment, if you please, and I shall return with your wines. He leaves the table towards the kitchen. Pivlich kind of gets up and flies off after him, and the two of them are holding a hushed conversation over in the distance.
Rare, try to hear what they're saying.
I try to hear what they're saying.
You can attempt to make a perception check, but it will be fairly difficult. Oh, an excellent roll. So you can't make out everything of what they're saying, but Pivlich seems to be complaining to Olivier about something. You distinctly hear the words, "Where is he? He's supposed to be here." And Olivier is just sort of like shaking his head and shrugging his shoulders.
Rare goes back to what she was looking at as she takes in the information that she has now received.
Yuri and Seer are making small talk, and Pivlich comes back. You can see that he's anxious, but he plasters a sort of insincere smile on his face as he takes his seat, and he addresses you again. Rare, I'm pleased to have made your acquaintance, but I must confess to you the same thing I told Jury. People come to my restaurant for a good meal and a good fight. What can you offer me as a performer? He sort of shrugs his shoulders a little.
I guess you're a little bit in luck since I've been relaxing my voice a little bit and haven't performed in quite a bit. So I could give you a quick song for your audience and hopefully please you.
Jury has spun fanciful tales of your singing. Of course, I would love to hear it.
And is Rare performing it for everyone or just for Pivlich?
For the table that she's at. She shouldn't be like projecting and trying to like fill the place with the song. But, you know, she like the people nearby will hear.
Okay. Sounds good. So Rare kind of sits up, real straight backed, looking at herself down, making sure she looks at herself one last time before she looks at her entire table. She kind of takes a large, deep breath in and gives a good smile before she starts singing. Her voice is very angelic, and when you hear her voice, it's almost as if multiple voices are singing at the same time. So she starts singing, and the lyrics consisted of, "When I was young, I saw my father cry and curse at the wind. He broke his own heart, and I watched as he tried to reassemble it. And my mother swore that she would never let herself forget. And that was the day that I promised I'd never sing of love. It does not exist. But you could be the only exception. Maybe I know somewhere, deep in the soul, that love never lasts. And we've got to find other ways to make it alone or keep us straight-faced. And I've always lived like this, keeping my comfortable distance. And up until now, I had sworn to myself that I'm content with loneliness because none of it was ever worth the risk. Because maybe you could be the only exception. She kind of gives a little bow at the end and finishes off with a nice little sigh, looks around, kind of reading everybody's reactions and faces, and gives a little very angelic smile and kind of asks, how was that for a little bit of entertainment?
Find out. Please make a performance check at advantage. Your song is very impressive. It seems to have moved Pivlich. You can see like a tear in the corner of his eye. And someone at a nearby table has noticed your song too. There seems to be a lot of conversation going on over at that table, but you happen to catch out of the corner of your eye a small, dark-haired woman just kind of staring at you from a distance.
Rare.
Go ahead, Rare.
Rare meets her eyes, brings her hand up with a little finger up, and crouches it as if waving with just a little finger, just to see that she noticed that she was singing, and hopefully giving her a smile and approval from her to see if that she liked it from a distance.
Annika, it seems you've been noticed.
Annika smiles a little bit and then kind of covers her face with her hands.
Rare giggles to herself and hopes that she might be introduced by that lovely lady.
So Pivlich, he's sort of like contemplating his next words carefully. He says, "Perhaps Jury was not exaggerating as much as he usually does. You're very gifted, Rare. But I still don't see my patrons appreciating a concert with their fight."
Well, that is all right. I'm kind of expectant that everybody wants to kind of see a big fight tonight and see maybe some bloodshed, whereas seeing someone like me might not be a huge interest. But however, I think eyes might wander and give a little bit of interest, if you would agree with me.
So as Pivlich is considering this, you find your attention drawn away from him. A man in a white outfit, sporting a green and black shawl and elongated white hat, approaches the table. And as he approaches, you're shocked to realize something. He's a tiefling.
Rare kind of gawks at him in surprise and is actually very interested in trying to introduce herself as soon as she can and maybe try to escape the table that she's in a less obvious way.
Well, he walks directly up to your table. He stops in front of it and he bows respectfully. "Master Pivlich, honored guests, I am Rocco Cabaretti, and it is my pleasure to serve you this evening." He gestures, and Olivier and another waitress begin carrying plates of food to the table, setting them before you. Rocco himself collects a bottle of wine and begins pouring it into Seer's empty glass.
Rare is still staring, and her mind is wandering and has so many questions for this now newfound person that she's met named Rocco.
So he walks around the table and he serves all of the others at the table, and then he approaches your seat. He gives you a sort of polite smile and he takes your wine glass. He's pouring a dark red liquid into it.
Well, thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. And she kind of starts stuttering over her words, and she starts introducing herself to him. She goes, "Hello, I'm Rare. I'm Rare the Moth, and I hope you're doing well tonight. And I'm very excited to see what you have to serve."
Rare. How fitting.
She giggles and kind of nods in approval.
I had not expected to see another of us here tonight.
And vice versa.
He sort of glances around at the rest of the table. He sees Pivlich watching him, his employer, and Jury and Seer. They're kind of chattering off on their own. He says, "Oh, the Cabernet, an excellent choice. It goes perfectly with the brush strider. It really accentuates its flavor."
Well, I'm glad that I picked the Cabernet then. So, have you been here for a while in this place, Pivlichino's?
Oh, I've been the head chef here at Pivlichino's for the past 18 months.
Oh, 18 months. So, where were you before Pivlichino's?
Oh, all around. I have moved from restaurant to restaurant in the 10th district and beyond. I sometimes travel and operate on the street. I have cooked in many places, working my way to get here. This is to be the head chef here at Pivlichino's is a great honor. It is one of the finest restaurants around. And Pivlich is quite good to me.
I can only imagine. He seems like a kind man, and I can hardly wait to taste your food and see what you have to present to the table. But I'd love to talk to you more about everything outside of the Pivlichino's, even though I think you are also surprised to see me here as well.
He sort of glances around again, and the other waiter and waitress, they've left the table, and he kind of gives you kind of an apologetic glance. He says, "Of course, perhaps I will be able to hear what you think of the food later. I really must be going, though. It's quite busy tonight, and I have many guests to serve and prepare food for."
She kind of has like a watery eye and kind of nods again and says, "Well, hopefully I can bump into you again and definitely talk about food and other things as well."
He gives you a respectful bow as he kind of hustles his way away from the table. You notice Pivlich caught pretty much the whole of that interaction, even if Jury was too distracted to notice. We'll do one more of the scenes before calling it for tonight. Second. Sloane, after sneaking your way inside through the upper window as a lizard, you find yourself safely blending in with the crowd of patrons. No magical alarms have gone off, no angry bouncers have shown up to toss you off the premises. You're pretty sure you're in the clear. But there's no sign of Agris, and after a few minutes of searching, you do run across the same Boros Wojek you encountered earlier, Belborka.
All that work and no sign of Agris anywhere. All right. So I guess I'll sidle on up to Bell Borka's table over here.
So he's traded his armor and his sigil for a nondescript leather tunic, and outside of his helmet, he's actually kind of cute. But the other person he's with, is decidedly not cute. Go ahead.
Fancy meeting you here. No sign of our mutual friend, though.
Bell spots you, and he kind of lights up with a smile. Knew you'd find your way in, lass. Pull up a chair and sit a while. Agris isn't here yet.
Oh, so the man himself is on his way, though?
With Agris, who knows? You glance your way across the table, and you see one of the larger minotaurs you've ever seen. He's making the small chair he's seated in look inadequate to the task of keeping him upright. His face seems set in a perpetual scowl. Though he's wearing plain clothes, the rigid set of his shoulders marks him as a member of the military more than any emblazoned tabard. You also feel like you vaguely recognize him, but you're not sure from where. Bell speaks up to you. He says, "What are you drinking tonight? First one's on me."
I'll have a flagon of the house ale.
So Bell
And thank you, Bell. You're a dear.
Bell puts his hand up and he calls over a waitress and he orders another round of ales for the table. The Minotaur sort of grunts at you, and Bell gestures his way. He says, "Bell, this here is Dars Gostok. He's a captain of the Boros Legion, a bona fide fire fist."
Nice.
The Minotaur,
okay.
he kind of holds out one hairy, beefy hand in your direction.
I try to, without showing my slight reservation, take out and give him a nice firm handshake.
It is firm. It is like this guy's surprisingly strong. Even though you knew he would be strong as a Minotaur, you're still like, your hand hurts by the end of it.
All right, well, I'm squeezing back. Just as tough.
Yeah, he doesn't appear to be trying is the thing. He's just naturally doing this, and you're trying to show off. You're flexing. You're giving it your all. Maybe you're gritting your teeth a little bit to try to match the handshake. It's like it becomes like the Arnold Schwarzenegger Jesse Ventura handshake in Predator.
Right, exactly.
Bell speaks up.
Nice to make your acquaintance. Do I know you from somewhere?
He kind of shrugs. He's like, doubt it.
I guess you just have one of those faces.
That's what they tell me.
Now, can I do some kind of like a... I don't know, like a insight check or something to try to see if I can remember where I recognize him from or something? I don't know.
Sure, we'll do that in a little bit.
Okay.
But yes, you can. Bell wants to speak up though. He says, so tell me again, lass, what is it you want with Agris?
Agris is supposed to have information on my latest bounty. It's that jerk Nico.
Nico. Bell shakes his head. He says, I can't say I've heard of him, but Agris is a fossil. He's got a lifetime of contacts out on the streets. Could be he can help you out.
Yeah, he robbed one too many of the wrong rich people. You know how it is.
I do. If you're gonna steal, you gotta steal from people who can't fight back.
Yeah, or at least you can't put out juicy bounties on you.
Well, that's where you come in, right? That's your job.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hunting down poor people for rich people.
Look, I don't try to take those kinds of jobs all the time, but, you know, a lady's got to eat, got to
Pays the
live.
bills. Pays the bills.
Yeah. I do good works in between. Look, don't bust my balls, though.
He's laughing at you. He's laughing at you. Meanwhile, a young Pivlichino waitress appears at your table. She bounces up and she says, "Hi, welcome to Pivlichino's. What can I get you tonight? Our specials tonight are pulled Indrik sandwich with pepper dressing, roasted salafuge drizzled in caramel, and for our adventurous diners..."
I dream about your blood soup. If I could please just a big piping bowl of the blood soup.
Blood soup it is. It's very hot tonight.
You. Just what a body needs.
The other two at the table put in their own orders, and the waitress darts back to the kitchen. All right, from somewhere on the upper level, you're chatting with them. You're chatting with them, and then somewhere on the upper level, you start hearing a chant. It starts growing. It's real quiet at first, but it gets louder and louder with each moment. Dane, 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 Dane. Everybody is cheering and chanting and stomping their feet.
Woo.
The Bell, he kind of looks over at Dars and he says, "You ever miss being out there? Hearing the crowd chanting your name?" And the Minotaur, he snorts and he shakes his head. "Never miss the crowds. The fights, those I miss." Go ahead and give me that insight check. Now you remember. Now you remember where you recognize Dars from. He used to be a champion prize fighter when he was younger, but he's been retired for many, many years, long enough to fade from memory.
Does he have like a fight name?
Oh, not that you can remember. You remember that he was known as Dars. You never knew his last name, but you think you remember him maybe being called Dars the Destroyer.
Dars the Destroyer. Okay, that's where I remember you from. I remember watching you fight.
The Minotaur, he just sort of sits back in the chair and rolls his eyes.
Oh, I know. I'm sure you get it all the time. But you were electric out there. Why'd you ever give it up?
He just sort of like. You can literally hear him grinding his teeth. He says, that little song and dance routine out there, nothing compares to getting in real fights with the Legion.
Too much pageantry. You like it real?
As a Fire Fist, I get to go out, put down insurrections and rebellions, stomp out threats to the city's order. The fights are good.
Yeah, I can see that. Compared to all that, a little night in a bar must seem paltry.
Oh, the bar is nice, don't get me wrong. Better drinking than out in the field, but eventually it's just time to stop, you know. You can now that you've kind of realized this, you kind of take note. This Minotaur is actually fairly old. You can see his horns are kind of worn down. You take notice of some scars across his body that you didn't really notice before. He's clearly been out there battling for decades.
Mm-hmm.
So as you chat with Bell and Dars. A small goblin in a dashing hat snakes his way past your table. He's weaving through the cramped seating of the upper level. And I believe, since it's 11:30, we're going to begin with him next week.
All right.
Cool.
Thank you, everybody.
Yay.
Yay!
Thank you, Gab.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much, Gab. Worth the wait.
I'm glad.
Beautiful.
These take a little bit to put together, so I appreciate your patience.
No, I believe it. I mean, no, this is super fun. I
Best
want to
part
know what
is
happens next.
Sloan stumbling and bumbling.
Hey.
Falling off of walls.
Hey.
Form of a lizard.
That's the intimidation factor for sure.
I really enjoyed seeing what I think is the first roll to 1 of our campaign.
Man. It happens to the best of us.
It does. About 1 time in 20, I'd say.
Theoretically, yeah, theoretically.
Something like that.
But we all know there's a time to change the dice. We all know that happens eventually.
I'll be honest, as I was writing up the session prep, I had a little note to myself saying, I hope Dutch remembers that Sloan can wild shape. Because I was a little worried you were going to try the various difficult ways to get in and fail at all of them, and then I would have to, find you a way in.
We got the best of both worlds. I got to fail at my difficult ways of getting in.
That was much better. That was much better than just succeeding at it right away. I liked it.
It would have been great, when Dutch changed back to her human form, and she was just on top of the glass, and it just broke, and she just fell in.
Basically one step less than that by coming in and having everybody start applauding me.
I can only imagine that they were already watching you from the outside. They were like, "Look at her."
You know what you probably could have done? You probably could have just crawled up Helio and wrote him in.
There's for sure a lot of ways that I could have done it that would have been more subtle, but that's the beauty of D&D, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Subtle.
definite shout out to Heather for giving me the hint.
All right,
It would
I
have
am
been great,
going.
if you were caught morphing into a lizard and be like, "What the fuck?"
All right, I am going to end the stream here. Thank you to anyone who's been watching. And we will play again next week with the remainder of Pivlichinos.
All right.
Awesome.
Get to see a fight tomorrow or next week.
Yeah.
Should be.